Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program SuperDawn. This is a wet day in Lagos. Everywhere is wet, and we slept well last night. And this day, SuperDawn will be a very cool one this morning. Once again, good morning to you. I am Vera Osopo.
Good morning, wherever you're watching, and I'm Blessed Omonusa reporting on duty today on the Thursday edition of SuperDawn. Welcome.
Well, today we're going to be looking at the role of the youth in governance. Youth, you know that they are very vibrant, important people, and for a long time, you know, Nigerian youth have been clamoring for a time to lead and to rule. Well, we're going to look at their role in governance this morning, and away from the youth, we're going to also look at the effect of information technology in development in Nigeria today. So we're going to be looking at, especially right now that you know that digital world is here and it's not going anywhere and it's progressing by the day. But we want to look at it, looking at it from the development, looking at the economy, how it will impact the economy, how it will impact our daily lives. And that's what we're going to be doing on this show. But you know that on this show, every day we go through the papers. So today, we're going to look some of the stories and maybe the headlines, and we continue. It's a wet day, and I bet you're going to enjoy the program this morning. Let's go on a break, and when we come back, we want to take a look at some of the stories making the rounds today.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program, where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's the newspaper review segment, and this morning we want to start with the Daily Trust. This says, expert lament budget delay 6 months after. The economists and business leaders have expressed concern that 6 months after receiving the 2018 budget, the federal lawmakers were yet to pass it. The budget was presented by President Muhammadu Buhari to the National Assembly on November 7, 2017. The Senate leader, Senator Ahmed Lawal, told Daily Trust in an interview that the budget will likely be passed this week. My brother, this is a case.
It is. I'm really surprised why 6 months down the line we've not passed the 2018 budget into law and to start expedite actions towards the economy recovery that this present administration has been clamoring for, and also trying to see that most of the projects that they have in mind for this year are being put in place. 6 months down the line, the budget has not been passed. The question is, what is delaying this passage of the budget? What are the executive doing, and what are the legislative doing as
Why are they keeping quiet?
I really
Why
don't understand.
Why is everybody keeping quiet? 6 months. My goodness.
Another thing you want to look at is where the pressure group. It seems everybody has just gone to sleep and Nigeria is just going the way it is. We just hope something fast happen towards that, if you ask me.
Okay, we're going to take some of this headline. I have this. I still don't support Buhari for second term. Obasanjo, the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, has disclosed, has deassociated himself from a claim that he had changed his position against the second term bid by President Muhammadu Buhari, saying, I'm still there. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not in support of him. I don't know why he's saying this, but we'll just move away from that. Facebook has taken our kids from their books. Commissioner. Well, thank God we're doing IT today, so we'll get more information.
It's quite relating.
Yes. We also have this one. Number of Nigerian doctors working in the UK doubles Everybody's traveling outside. We have this in the papers today. Federal government files 32 amended charges against Dasuki. 32. And also in the stories today, police charged Milaye with attempted suicide.
Still the Milaye case, and we just sit down and watch and see how this case is finally going to come to an end, because it's been one issue or the other. Today you check the papers, you get one issue. Tomorrow you check the papers, you get one issue. It's just on and on and on like that. We'll just keep watching and see how the case come to an end. All right, starting off this morning with the New Telegraph. The headlines are screaming, US visit, you burgled your redemption. And that's former President Olusegun Obasanjo telling our President, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the rider says, I will never support failure. Ex-President, Labour, deny meeting, and then the President demands fair coverage from the media. Also, at the top of the New Telegraph this morning, gas flaring, deficit forecast hit 633.6 billion naira. FG shifts 60-year-old deadline. IOC gets fresh 2 years. And also on the New Telegraph this morning, again, IGP snubs Senate. And I'll quickly take the story. The Senate yesterday mandated its majority leader, Senator Ahmed Lawa, and the chairman Senate Committee on Police Affairs, Abu Ibrahim, to report the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to President Muhammadu Buhari over IG Idris' disrespect to the chamber. I don't know what you think about the story. This, I think, is the second time.
Well, the first time he was invited, he didn't go. He sent a representatives. The second time they were expecting, because of that, they had to change the date. And they invited him again. Now he wasn't there, sent another representative.
Now this just reminds me of what we discussed on SuperDawn some weeks back, when we're talking about the rule of law and impunity in the country. This goes a long way to show that the level of impunity among our public officials, it's at its high rate. How can you say it's impunity?
Do you know if he has an assignment? We've not heard him. We've not heard him. We're still waiting to hear before we conclude.
Of course, yes, we're still waiting. Of course, we're still waiting to hear from him. But I feel it's disrespectful not to attempt or meet up to the demands of the Senate.
We're still waiting for him to give his reaction to that story. You know, on this side, we want to wait and let him give us why wasn't he there. But he sent a representative. Now again, I said, the judiciary arm is very important in cases like this. If you send a representative, is that taken? I mean, will it pass for it? And if not, does that sign a disrespect to the chambers? What is actually happening? Maybe someone can call in to tell us. If you know about it, you can tell us more. The phone lines are open for you to say. Tell us, is it right for him to keep, disobeying? But was that I don't know. But let someone just call us, tell us if you think he was right or wrong. But although he sent twice a representative when he was invited to the chambers.
All right, and that's it. That does it for me on the New Telegraph paper this morning. Okay,
we'll move away from the New Telegraph and we'll take some stories in the Punch this morning. Obasanjo denies supporting Buhari. You need to get hold of the Punch this morning. Nigeria going nowhere without restructuring. This is coming from Adebajo and Wombodo and others. We also have in the Punch, Osun seal off OAU over unpaid 1.8 billion tax. Police arraign Milaye on attempted murder. And you have 2019 polls. INEC recommends debates for candidates. Yes, I won't just allow this go.
Okay.
Do you think it's important that these candidates come out to tell us what they have for us in a debate?
That's the way it has always been. If they don't come out to tell us what they have for us, how then are we going to trust them on leadership? How then are we going to trust their capacity? How then are we going to trust that they can handle all the challenges that we're facing in this country, every presidential aspirant must come out for a debate. Is it just for
presidency?
Presidential aspirants, those seeking public office, you must come out for a debate. It is important.
It
is imperative that they come out for a debate.
Let even hear you. Let's tap out of your intelligence. Let's just hear you. Tell us what you can deliver.
Yeah, that's
the last time we didn't really see this presidential debate, and I wasn't happy about it. But I know this coming one, we should see you talk. Speak to us. Tell us what you have. We want to see you talk. Well, away from that, we also have federal government okays fresh 80 billion for Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Get hold of the Punch this morning. You can get more stories there.
And moving over here to the Vanguard newspaper this morning, and I'm starting off with the same headlines on the New Telegraph. Buhari Bagut talks with Trump, and that's coming from ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo. And the writer says, President lost opportunity to self-redeem in US. Adds rumor that he has decided to support Buhari is false. No response to Obasanjo's statement, and that's coming for the presidency. Want to know more? Get yourself a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. And also, Benue killings. Herdsmen kill 6. Yet again, injuries caused in Goma, LGA, as army arrests Helder with AK-47 rifle. You can find that on page 3. And I'm really bothered. The president said something at the just concluded visit to the US, Washington, D.C. He said, the herdsmen don't carry guns.
I don't know where that came from, but I don't know.
And here we are.
I don't know how we got that, but herdsmen have been killing in some states, and we are aware of it. And even the military has been impounding on some of these people. You know, I don't know. Let's just move ahead.
All right.
More stories.
still on the Vanguard this morning. Looting. My appointees will face the music if... Let me quickly take that story. You can find that on page 3. And yes, the president speaking. President Muhammadu Buhari said that any of his appointees arrested by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, for corruption will face the consequences of being tried. He also said special court to try looters were on their way, warning looters of consequences of getting involved. The looters list has been released, and most of the names on that list, you agree with me, are from the past administration. And now we are saying here that does it really mean that those in this present administration are not found guilty of corruption? Okay,
they said they're going to bring another list. I'm waiting for that list. Maybe before I make my conclusion, I will see the list they said they are going to get. So we're still waiting.
We're waiting.
But looters list now, for me, that's not what we should be looking at. We should be looking at our economy. People are not happy. And let's begin to look at how we can grow the economy. Let's begin to look at how we can strive, how Nigerians can feed.
But truly, if Nigeria will have to feed and strive, corruption will have to give way.
No, we have to stop corruption.
Yeah.
You know, when this administration started, I honestly commended what the president did. He exposed us to a lot of things we didn't know before, where people hid loads of money where you're not even expecting. Snake swallowing all not.
All that.
While we are still looking at looted list and the rest, we should also take a look at how people can eat well.
All right, still on the Vanguard paper this morning, Nigeria sitting on time bomb without restructuring, and that's coming from Anyonku, Leko, Uwombodo, Adebanjo, others. And finally, the Melaye insecurity issue. Again, IGP Idris, Sean Senate. You can get these and more on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Okay, that's the end of this segment. We're moving now to IT. I know that the impact of IT, information technology, is very important. We're going to look at the IT world and look at where we stand and how we can move forward from there. Let's go on this break. We'll be right back. Please come.
Welcome back. Well, we want to look at the impact of technology in Nigeria this morning. In today's world, when you say technology, it's something that is an integral part to the society. It's very important when you want to grow your economy, you want to grow a nation. You cannot do without it. And so this morning we want to look at the major importance of technology in Nigeria. And we have our guest this morning, Martins Eke, the founder of the
Probity.
Okay, Probity. Good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're looking at IT, the impact of IT, looking at it in Nigeria. Are we there?
We have started.
Okay.
It's going to take a long time for us to begin to appreciate the impact of technology, because when you talk about technology, you are actually saying machines should start doing what humans used to do in time past. That is the central focus of technology. Getting machines to do for humans what humans used to do for themselves in the past. That is basically that.
Okay, looking at that, getting machines to do what humans are supposed to do, I know that when you say technology, it's very important in addressing global challenges like poverty, global challenges like environmental degradations, global challenges like social inclusion. Because that's what we want to look at today.
Okay.
How do we address all of these challenges through technology?
Okay. Now, first and foremost, let us consider technology as an instrument that will help us to move from where we were before as human to where we want to be eventually. Now, taking so many of the issues we currently face today, let's say Nigeria as of today, let's take the fact of agriculture for right now. Now, in the past, or even as of today, we plant our seed, expect the natural environment to get those seeds to be to produce fruits, as it were. But with technology, you now have instruments, machines that now help you to properly study the dynamics of these seedlings and try to understand how can we improve on it. So technology helps you to move faster with understanding how things actually operated naturally, to now getting them to now move from their natural state to the what we may refer to as, let's say, the unnatural states.
Okay, now talking about technology now, the world is advancing, and then if you ask me, the two of the sectors that I would say is booming in Nigeria economy today is the creative industry and the tech industry. I'm a young guy, I'm also tech savvy now. I would like to ask this question. How do you think we can engage the youth meaningfully and this state of unemployment in Nigeria as regarding technology?
If we want to solve our national problem, engaging the youth rightfully, we have to take it through the right process. One of the first things, for example, now one of the things I've learned from how the world have actually been doing, the advanced world have been doing it, is they use a slogan called "slow is smooth, smooth is fast." Now, you have to take it one step at a time. You must first and foremost understand how these things actually operate vis-a-vis the use of technology. By the time you have understood it, you now begin to move to the point of deploying it, adopting it appropriately. Now, for youths in Nigeria, if we want to actually solve our economic problem through the youth, as it were, we need to first and foremost take our mind away from, let's say, the economic benefits first, to trying to understand how to do this thing, how to deploy technology in the first instance, how to understand, okay, let's take some practical situation. Sorry, please.
Your lost of thoughts there. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
All over Africa continent, plans and projects are formulated to improve the life of its citizens. Now, which is the aim of development anyway, because all of this plan is to improve lives and for the citizens. But looking at what is happening now, some of these programs we formulated, you know, it is really not totally being implemented. So how can a youth, or how can youth take, the youth of this country, take advantage of technology to improve themselves?
Okay. Let me use my company as an example. At least that will help us to drive it home appropriately. Okay, when we started as a technology company, we employed the youth straight from university. People that have basically little knowledge about technology, just like general knowledge of what technology is supposed to be. When they came in, first and foremost, we have to identify, okay, what do we want to achieve? What exactly do we want to do? By understanding what we want to do, we now start asking ourselves again, how will technology help us achieve this thing? And by understanding that, every person now went to work to begin to study technology vis-a-vis what we want to create with technology. And it took us time, approximately, let's say 5 years, to understand the deployment of technology to solving a specific problem that we are now providing to the market. Now, why are we able to achieve this? These youth, when they came, they were not thinking about the money they're going to get. They are not thinking about the beautiful life they want to live. They are thinking about, we want to solve a problem. How do we get technology to help us solve this problem? Because we have to be mindful of our environment. Our environment in terms of our economic capacity. Why China, for example, are significantly advanced today is because they looked at the environment. There was a time that China could hardly pay even up to 50,000 naira in terms of naira value to an employee. But they focused on, we want to solve a problem. And everybody was more interested in how do we solve this problem. And they began to learn and understand. And at that time, they began to solve these problems. Gradually, their value started going up. People that used to earn less than 50,000 naira, let's assume, in terms of salary, gradually the salary started moving up to in the range of 1 million to 3 million and so on like that, as it is today. An average Chinese person probably will be earning not less than $50,000 annually and all of those stuff like that, as against what's obtainable in America, where an average expert in technology earns between 100,000 to 150,000 and the average range. But here in Nigeria today, the natural average you'll probably be getting is far less than $10,000 annually per person. Now, if you want to get it right, don't think about the money.
Okay, you should begin to look at beyond the money.
Yeah, focus on the solution you want to solve first. Let us, by the time we solve those problems, then the value will start to come in.
Okay, but also I know that people do all sorts through the internet. Yeah. Some people sell their product online, and now Nigeria is beginning to appreciate technology through that end. But let's look at also the vices of technology, because some people have cried, even in the papers this morning. A commissioner is saying people don't want to read anymore.
Yeah, and they are now leaving their book to
Facebooking and Instagramming and the Twitter and all of that and the WhatsApping. But this is beginning to affect Nigerian youth. How do we take advantage really of the internet?
Okay, when it comes to the vices or the disadvantage, as it were, in quotes, of technology, for me, I would rather say that the problem is not the technology, the problem is the people.
Okay.
Either two, Nigerians, as it were, are they the reading people? Are they the people that are very committed to trying to getting things done? For example, there are basically 3 fundamentals that govern an individual vis-a-vis productivity, vis-a-vis trying to produce something. And those three things are principally: 1, discipline; 2, frankness; and 3, results.
So can you explain that? Let's know how to apply those things.
Okay. Now, anything you want to do requires a lot of discipline. Why does it require discipline? Why? Because ordinarily, by nature, the things that you want to do, you are not meant to do it if you want to follow your natural
instinct.
Not instinct,
Senses.
your nature.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to wake up, let's say by 4 o'clock, as soon as you try to wake up, your body will tell you go back to sleep. So it takes discipline for you to alter, to cut that nature. Now, to read is not natural for most humans. Now, you require discipline to now say, I must read for this number of hours. Now, Nigerians generally, do we have such discipline? That is a question we should ask. Now, the second one is frankness. Are we honest to ourselves in terms of, Mr. Man, you are not doing this thing right? Can somebody actually tell you to your face, you are not doing this thing right? And all of those stuff like that. Then results is everything we want to do, we have to actually have our mind on what we want to achieve at the end of the day with that particular thing. And we have not, youths generally in Nigeria, have we gotten to that point where we have become conscious of the fact that we must become disciplined, we must become frank, and we must become result-oriented. And once we're able to solve this, now when we go to internet, for example, the use of maybe social media for the things we try to do, that act of discipline now comes in, and the act of results comes in. You now begin to ask yourself, now I'm on social media. What do I want to do with social media? Why am I in social media? What do I want to achieve at the end of the day with social media? By trying to now get that thing done, are people, if I begin to negate that act, is somebody telling me, like one of my colleagues, okay, you have been on this particular social media, it's necessary that you're supposed to be there from time to time, but you have stayed there for more than 1 hour. You're supposed to spend 1 hour. Is somebody telling you, okay, 1 hour has lapsed, can you move to something else? And all of the, no, please move to something else. So that is where the issue lies. It's not the social media. The social media is neutral. Yeah. The technology is neutral, just like money, just like any other thing.
Some people complain that they don't have jobs, and I learned that with the internet availability, you can actually create something. How do you do that?
Beautiful. There's nothing like there's no job. I don't believe in the concept that there is no job, because there's problems everywhere. And we, by nature, by our creation, we're designed to solve problems. Now, technology is one of, in fact, with the presence of technology, everybody can now have a job. Technology allows everyone to have a job.
So how do you take advantage of it?
Yeah, you take advantage of it by deciding what you want. Now, understanding how technology can actually solve that particular problem. Technology is, you can use technology to do practically anything. There's nothing on the face of the earth that technology is not meant to solve. Whether it has been created yet or you are the one to create it, it does not matter. What matters is, what problem do you want to solve?
So how do you use it to solve the development of this country? How do you use it?
Okay, let's take, for example, let's even talk about electricity. Electricity today can be provided by me and you. Do we need the government to provide electricity for us? Absolutely no.
How do I provide one?
Technology. Yeah, beautiful. Now, we have the sun, we have the wind. It's not controlled by government. It's given to us by nature. Now, by understanding technology, you can actually begin to adapt technology purposefully to the creation of electricity. And there are a lot of things that you need to now learn. The beauty of technology is that you can go to the internet and Google or whatever the case may be and begin to find out materials that can actually give you understanding as to the new set of technologies that can actually make electricity become possible. If we understand the role of technology to infrastructural development,
Yes.
we will now discover that we don't need government to be able to help us achieve those things. What we need is we to decide, how do I solve electricity? If our company today say we want to solve electricity, the only thing we just need to do is, what are the things that are required to get electricity to work? Let's say using solar system or using wind energy system, or the case may be. By the time we have understood all of those things, we'll now begin to develop, okay, what kind of business model do you want to adopt?
Is our government not helping out? Do you think they can do more? What areas do you think government needs to come in?
Anytime people mention government, I'm a little bit biased.
No, because we need to advise government as well. They have a role.
I'm very biased. Why? Because I've lived on the face of this earth for 2 years. I've seen things gone backward because we all depend on government, because we all expect government to do something.
You think they don't have a role?
I have personally passed the stage in my life where I have to be expecting what government is going to do. Rather, I'm actually looking at what am I going to do for government.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Are you saying government has no role to play in Nigeria? Is that what you're saying?
That is not my thinking.
But do they have roles to play?
Everybody has a role to play.
That's what I'm saying. How can we encourage
the
the government
into
involved
coming
as
into
well?
technology.
Let me explain to you. If we are talking about getting government involved, we have to actually understand what exactly is Nigerian government.
So what do you think is our government?
Now, if you look at Nigerian government, you find that the fundamentals of Nigerian government is wrong, ab initio. And if something is wrong, ab initio, there are two solutions to it. One, dismantle it and build it up from ground again. Two, forget about it and live your life as if that thing does not exist. For me, can I dismantle the government? No, I cannot do that.
So you cannot encourage the government, you cannot advise the government.
See, let those that advise government.
Okay.
So that is not my place. My place is to solve problems as I deem them fit. And I've realized that I could actually solve a whole lot of problems without actually looking at the side of government.
But you said in your statement when we started talking about government involvement, you said that the way the government is right now, it's not what it should be, isn't it? If I got you right.
Yes.
And if it's not what it should be, don't you think we have a role also to advise government, if we are experts in any field, to say this is the way to go, even if they take it or not? But you have also contributed to the development. You have given your advice to government as well. Don't you think so?
I have one life to live.
Okay.
And
well, we must wrap up now, but finally, let's also your word for the youth in this country. Some of them, they go into all sorts. We look at internet fraud and the rest of it. Do you think we can also stop this internet fraud with technology as well? Can we stop it?
Definitely
and begin
we
to
can.
Build a better Nigeria, a better society?
Yes, we can.
Okay, tell us what we need to do.
I will tell youths, if you are so intelligent enough to do internet fraud, you are so intelligent enough to use internet or to use technology to do anything you want to do. There's no you that is not naturally intelligent. A fraudulent youth is an intellectual. Because you cannot be a fraudster without being intelligent. It's not possible. So the only thing you just need to do is, can you channel that energy of intelligence that you're currently using to think of fraud or being fraudulent to something else? Tell yourself, I want to fix this particular problem, then start working towards it. It's just a matter of time. Give yourself 10 years, not 5 years. Give yourself 10 years minimum or 15 years minimum, then you find yourself fixing that problem.
Yeah, we need to wrap up now. I want to thank Martins Egbe. Thank you so much, the founder CEO Mbubriti. Thank you so much for coming on this segment. We'll invite you someday to tell us more about technology. With some of your explanation, I'm beginning to enjoy, beginning to wanting to do something with it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we'll go on this break now, and when we come back, we want to look at the role of the youth in government. Don't go away.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed. Now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back, where we want to look at Nigerian youth in governance. Really, it's very important that we begin to look at it come 2019 is around the corner. We've seen Nigerian youth and some groups of people that are advanced looking at how they can be part of it. We want to look at Nigerian youth inclusion in governance. And today we have a guest in the studio. He's a politician here with us. Ahmed Buhari, good morning to you.
Good morning, good to be here.
Good to be here.
Good morning.
I know that Nigerian youths, when you look at the youth, they control a major votes, looking at the case study during elections. And they go for elections, but they end up not controlling nothing. After the elections, politicians take over and they are just left alone. Do you think our youth can make sense in governance?
Of course. The one thing that can make a governance structure successful is if it is all-inclusive. When I mean all-inclusive, you're talking about having old people, having young people, having all sorts of genders, whether male, female, all kinds of ethnicities, religions. So it has to be a total mix for you to have that balance. If you don't have that balance, then it's like saying you've set aside men of 60 and above to the side for people who were born just today. And the big problem here is what we want as a generation is slightly different from what another generation wants. And so it's important for us to have a listening ear to what those people in that category are asking for. You know, put it in a mix and formulate the policies that will govern the people. Once you have that missing, you cannot have a governance that is truly a representation of the people.
Now, I want to ask you this. In Nigerian economy today, we see a lot of youth driving a lot of innovations. And we see young people in the tech world doing quite a lot of things, wonderful stuff. Now, I want to ask you, why is it that we don't have a lot of youth coming out for politics?
You know, I've been on this platform a few times and I've spoken about the reason why we keep getting it wrong. And maybe people don't understand what I say, but in clear terms, it means if Nigerians are not prepared to pay for the kind of democracy that they deserve, they will be paid for the kind of democracy that they get. So now the election year is drawing closer, and you find a lot of young people going around waiting for politicians that will give them money. And those monies that they will give them, depending on how weighty they are, would inform the choices they make on election days. So that already in itself is a total distortion from achieving the dividends of democracy. The two things that the youth can bring into governance are innovation and energy. There is no two ways about it. I like to cite the example with budgets. Budget is an organization that's run to give us a true representation of what the budget has been designed to do. So they don't just give us a true representation based on graphical representation or speeches. They go to the local governments and say, this state, for example, has budgeted to do this and that. They go to the local people. Have they done it? Has it met your expectation? Is it quality? And all of those things. And I've seen a few times when Shewun, the head of budget, has gone to a few local governments and he has been chased away by security forces. And that's just to let you know that the government at hand or in that area is hiding some of the things that it's supposed to have done. Overall, I think when we have innovations like that, you start seeing transparency, accountability, efficiency, and this is what this generation can offer. You cannot expect us to move forward in a time when a lot of young people are tech savvy, and then we have people who the only thing they do with their phones is just make calls, making the decisions for us.
Instead of them to be involved.
Instead of them to be involved.
But I will tell you what happened. The former president, Shehu Shagari, at the age of 35.
Yes.
When he was 30, he was a legislator. And when he became 35, he was a minister.
Sure.
And if you look down history, Akinjide Richard was also a minister at the age of 32. And if we go further, there's a minister right now in this administration, that's Ogbe, Minister Ogbe Greek. He was a minister at the age of 35. And he's still serving today as a minister in this administration. Doesn't mean that we don't have youth that can take positions in Nigeria.
Of course we do. And unfortunately, yesterday I was speaking to an older person, and then she said, all you young people clamoring for office, I think you're too young for it. And I started citing the same examples you cited. And she was like, it was then. And I'm like, this is the problem. So over time, we've been sort of been presented with old politicians to the point that our brains are beginning to fail to recognize that there is ability in the fact that you're young. there are some advantages that you can actually bring to the table that some people older than you cannot bring. Well, no, and I've always said this, if you want to be successful, even though we have the energy, the innovation, the agility, we want to do something, if we don't have the advice of the elders, we may get it wrong. So what really happens if you look at the Roman Empire in those days, you see that the king is mostly a very young man, and then everybody around him in the Senate, they're a bit older, so they give him the advice, and with his own position, he decides what he wants to do. But then those older people are there to just advise. You sort of need the mix, the balance, so that you can actually hit the nail properly on the head. And this is exactly what I'm trying to make people understand.
Now let me ask you this. Now looking at France, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, came in his late 30s. Now I'd like to ask you, we have this not too young to rule bill that the Senate has refused to pass into law, that stipulate that young Nigerians, even at the age of 30, should be able to aspire for the office of the presidency. Now I want to ask you now, how can we get it right in our system that will encourage youth to come out into politics?
First of all, to be fair to the Senate, they did pass the bill into law. They're just waiting for the president to assent the bill. And then, of course, they're trying to bring down the presidency to 35, the governors to 30, and so forth, so on and so forth. The reason why there is so much fear in all of this is because certain people have spent so much money in the electionary process, in the campaign process. And when you spend so much money in this process, you want to recoup your money. And so you don't want anything to come and distort it. And the same thing for the young people as well. The young people are going into this whole thing, and whatever they're coming with is just energy. Energy, innovation, they're ready to talk, they're ready to give you ideas. But then, a lot of people are hungry. So the fact that we have a country of young people who are not just unemployed, not just unemployable, hungry, frustrated, you will keep having a system that's unable to hold. And that's exactly what we're facing now. So even when you present a young person, another young person tells you, I don't think he can do it. And the main reason why it doesn't think he can do it, the first thing they say to you when you're trying to run, they say, how much money has he got? The fact that you're asking for how much money has he got, it means that already you are saying you're not interested in how he's going to succeed. Because definitely, if he does put his hand in his pocket to bring out money, he's going to be thinking of how to recoup that money. So in all of these things, the youth in the country are going to face a huge stumbling block in their ability or in their intentions or desire to take a role in governance. And this is simply because the system isn't ready for us.
Okay, why do you think this system isn't ready? Could it be that because some people had said, looking at today's reality in politics, really, some youth, what they call social media battalions, some of them call them, consultants of Facebooking and all of those things. Do you think, do you agree or do you believe that is the elite, the elderly elite, that is stiffening the chances of youth taking positions? Or the youths are not ready to take over?
I think the youths have got a lot to offer. I think the youth are prepared to take over. I've run a lot of sensitization exercises, and you can see that they have a lot of energy.
So what are the challenges you're saying?
Obviously, it still has to do with the system that has not empowered the youth. So we're talking about a system that has left more than 60-65% of a generation jobless. And now this is a total breakdown, because apart from the fact that it's a ticking time bomb, it could actually lead to the fact that a lot of them have been going into drugs. And recently I saw the documentary on the codeine. People need to fall back on something, to something. And this is because the system isn't prepared for them. So you try to get into the system and play a role. You try to finish secondary school. You try to finish university because you are with the opinion that as soon as I'm done, I'm being consumed into the system and I rise through the ranks. But the system is not prepared for you.
So are you saying that if they institutionalize Nigeria's youth, it will be better for it?
Obviously, if the system is right, what the system just needs to do is to provide those basics. You cannot have a system that doesn't have accommodation for jobs. You cannot have a system that doesn't have accommodation for infrastructure that this youth can thrive upon. So there are a lot of young people who want to come, they have a lot of good business ideas, but then there is no infrastructure that's going to help those business ideas sustain. They cannot sustain those business ideas because the structure in place cannot help them prosper. And these are the things that we're talking about. So we're looking at a generation that even if you give them responsibility today, they may not know what to do with it.
So can they take it by force? Can't we come together and just take it by force?
Exactly, it can happen. Yeah, but I'm also concerned about when we do take it by force, are we sure we have that generation of people that would know exactly what to do? And so this is where the older generation is also failing. Mentorship. You need to be excited when you have somebody younger than you that you have prepared for a responsibility. The fact that you can open your mouth as an elder and say, all of you here, you all failed my exam. That means you failed as well as a teacher because you were put in that position to ensure that they all passed. But if the failure rate is 90%, then you know that you also have a problem. And this is where we have found ourselves. We found ourselves with a system that has failed to allow responsibility to be transferred from one generation to the next generation as it's when due. And this has created a vacuum. And this vacuum is what has led to all of the nonsense you see going around in our society.
Now let me ask you, looking at the future ahead of us, how do you think we can put things in place that will make, still talking about system now, what are the things you think we need to put in place that will make the youth have interest into politics and coming into governance?
First and foremost, what in the build-up of 2019 general elections, we've seen a lot of young people present themselves, and this has actually informed some of them who initially felt it was an impossible task to start thinking, oh, it's possible. Oh, there's a program going on in a co-hotel. There's another program going on in an Oriental Hotel. I need to be there. It's a youth program. I need to participate. I need to speak. And then you're seeing people actually growing in interest. So what I would expect the system to really do because of this growing interest is to allow something different to happen, at least in 2019. This is supposed to allow a generation of people grow this interest in believing in a system, and then it will now be the responsibility of the elders and the new generational shift of maybe people in governance to say, now we have to create an avenue where these people can fit in and become responsible. Because the moment you don't think responsibility is demanded from you, you become irresponsible. And this is where the problem
because
is.
I know that Nigerian youths, surely amongst the youths are talented, very creative youth in the world, faster learning, you see them, the ability to work even under pressure.
Absolutely.
Then the question now is, why are we not taking charge? You have said the reason is some of these elites are not ready to give us that chance.
Yes.
But looking at the way forward, if they're not allowing us to give the chance, I know that it's what you program in the youth that you get anyway. But if they're not allowing us, can't we begin to gather ourselves? I asked you that question.
Yes.
Can't we organize forums where we begin to speak with ourselves?
It's going on.
Yes.
It's going on. Yeah, it's going on. But I won't lie to you. The number of young people that do not believe in young people is huge. So now, as a young person, you're presenting yourself to other young people. But because they have actually failed to believe in themselves, it transfers to the fact that they can't believe in you because they see you falling in that category. So even if you're 40, a lot of young people still look at you like, nah.
But you cannot jettison the role of the youth in nation building.
That's exactly what we're saying. But
yes.
so the youth have agreed to relegate themselves to where the system has pushed them to. And they have failed to see beyond their horizon. And that is why exercises like this are important, to actually broaden their horizon, to let them see that you have something in you that you can actually give. And when you start asking them like that, they start believing in themselves, and then they start, expressing what they can actually do with themselves. But the fact that you are now running a system where you see the youth mobilize themselves during campaigns to support these people, they get into office, and when you expect them to give you a responsibility, they decide to give you money. Tomorrow they give you money. At the end of the day, you just become, I just want to collect some money. And then you're not preparing yourself for the responsibility. So there are certain youths that are close to the corridors of power that even if they point to them and say, come and become so in my administration, I don't think I can do it. Just give me 1 million naira, let me just go, I'll see you next month. And that's where they have agreed to put themselves. So it's now the responsibility of a few of us who have seen beyond our noses to say, let's talk to ourselves, let's awaken this consciousness in the young people and let them start believing that there is something that they can actually give. To be honest with you, it's difficult because it's a mindset that has been pushed so far away whether you want to look at it from the religious point of view, whether you want to look at it from the societal point of view, whether you want to look at it from the gender point of view. So because it's the same thing that goes on with the women as well. So a lot of women just believe, oh, I'm not expected to be in the front row, so I'm just going to go into that hall and I'm going to sit at the very back, because that's what society has presented to them over time. But if you get into, I get into programs and I'm like, I can see some women at the back. Can you come to the front? This man, can you go to the side? And you know, and then women participate during the program.
They take roles. Also.
Exactly. So you have to pull out people. That's what we have to do right now. Otherwise, the people will just feel I'm not needed. The moment you start thinking you're not needed, truly you offer nothing.
Now let me ask you this.
Yes,
now, power now is one thing that these elderly ones are not willing to give to the youth freely, and it's something that we need to take by force. Now I want to ask you, I feel there's a disconnect between the youth and this older generation. How do you think they can be a level playing ground, just as you mentioned mentorship? How do you think they can be a level playing ground where you have someone who is either a politician, an older politician, mentoring a younger one?
The mentor and the mentee.
How do we create that balance?
So it can be created, you know, but first of all, the process that gets these guys into office has to be checkmated. There's no two ways about it. I told you the last time, you want to hold a town hall meeting here, and then because you're holding a town hall meeting, the area council guy will tell you, drop us some money. The other person said, drop us some money. The people that will even come for the event will tell you, when they finish, they'll tell you, oh, we can't go back because we have to transport ourselves back to where we came from. And then you're looking at them and you're thinking in your head, are these the people that I truly want to be concerned about? Because whatever you're trying to do, in all honesty, you're doing it because you want to see how you can get their lives better and the country moving forward. But because over time they have been burnt, they have been cheated, they have been betrayed, they don't trust anybody. So now a lot of sensitization has to go in place. And the youth have to come together in unison to say, you know what, we're together.
So how do we change that mindset?
That's what we're doing.
How do we begin to change the mindset in our environment?
Change
it in our society,
I have started. You know, before now, I would stay on social media, like you said. What do you call the social media guys again? I would stay on social media, I would rant, I would complain, and we get into a fight with another person because he has a view that he thinks should not be, you know, trampled upon. But at the end of the day, when I wanted to start this sensitization exercise, I started calling each and every one of the people that I've actually had a misunderstanding with on political matters, on governance, on social matters, to say, you know what, we are going through the same problem. Right now, as I speak to you, I don't have electricity. Have you got electricity? Say no. Have you got water? No. This is no. So you know what? We're facing the same problems. So again, you know, when we see clashes happening in the north, there's a religious crisis, I say to the people, I say, look, the people in the northern part of this country do not even know if this country produces oil. And frankly speaking, they don't even care. So what it means is, the same way you're going through some stress in Umuahia is the same way somebody in Kafancha is going through stress. It's the same way someone in Lapa is going through stress. It's the same way somebody in Ukorodu is going through stress. And the only way we can get this things rectified is if we identify that we do share the same problems and we're ready to work on them together. This is the awakening that we're hoping that we can present to the people within our generation to say, you know what, it's about time we stop fighting each other, unite ourselves so that we can demand for accountability, transparency, efficiency, and good governance. Once there is good governance, the process flows. And I was happy that your last guest spoke about technology, because that's the only way we can get this right. So I keep talking about the civil service, for example. Somebody says, oh, the civil service is the anchor. If the civil service is not working right, nothing can work right. And I say, yes, but you can actually make the civil service work technologically if the day you're actually signing up to work, you log onto your computer and you see you've got 14,396 days left. Tomorrow you come 14,395 days left. Your days are counting. So your prompt payment comes at every 30 days. And the moment you are retiring, the system stops paying you.
Okay, looking also, I want us to look at funding. We also look at money in contesting for an election. I remember during Barack Obama, the former president of the U.S., when he wanted to take over, it was time for him to say, hey, there were no limitations.
Absolutely.
And people gathered to help out in that election. Can the youth come together and say, hey, this is our representatives, let's get money. How do we even get the money, first of all?
No, Of course, the youth still have some money to get from point A to point B. You still go to bars, you see them drinking a lot of, they still buy drugs, like we've seen in the recent documentaries and all of that. But the message has to be right. We have to talk to them. We have to let them understand that something has got to give. There is no way, absolutely no way, you can have a nice dress without paying for it. There is no way you can have a better life without paying for it. So, if you want good democracy, you should be ready to pay for it. All my friends abroad, when they talk to me, the first thing they say, how are you financing this? Have you got an account? Where can we pay money into? But you come back here and they're like, we're about to go, sir.
But do they really have money?
Some of them do.
Do they have money to give to you?
Some of them do, because if you look at 100 naira multiplied by 30 million youths, we can run any kind of campaign we want to run in Nigeria. 100 naira, and a lot of young people have got 100 naira to spend.
We'll go on this break, and when we come back, we're still looking at the youth involvement. We need to be part of it. Let's go on the break. We'll be right back.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. Still looking at the youth involvement in politics. Really, this is very important. Where we begin to educate the youth. I asked earlier when we started this show that where do we start from? How do we get into communities and begin to educate the youth in the importance of involvement, in the importance of them knowing that they can be part of governance?
Yes. Like you said from the beginning, it's just enlightenment. You need to talk to them. You need to, I'm wary to use this example because you might attack me again. But when I declared to run for office of the president, to be honest with you, it didn't come like a regular politician declaring to run for office of the president. Because at this time around, they were looking at, wow, okay, what's this? What's going on? And we called for a meeting, and people were traveling all the way from Kogi, from Niger, from Nasarawa to be at a meeting in Lagos. This was because they had never experienced a thing like this. So these are the kind of things that we can actually introduce into the system that can give us that groundbreaking impact in the consciousness of the people. So as we were trying to get those people, some of them came around and some of them were like, fraud, he's sponsored, come and get out from here, we don't want to talk to you, we don't want to work with you. This is because for some of them, their minds had been buried within a system that's not allowing them to think beyond their sphere. And so that is why I keep saying it, we have to keep doing what we're doing. It's a process. The process that got us into this mess took a long time. It's going to take us a bit of a while to get out of it.
Now, I want us to look at this now. The youth has always been used as an instrument of getting elections, as in terms of political rallies and all that. And after this, people get into power, they forget them. Look at our present ministers now. We don't even have anyone we can say is a youth there. Even our youth minister is not really a youth per se. Now, I want to ask these questions now. How do we get this youth involved into all these levels in terms of ministerial level, commissioner levels, and even special advisors? How can their voice be heard?
Participate honestly, participate sincerely, participate on the track of seeking a better governance. So when a politician comes, you don't have to ask him for money. You just tell him what you want. You say, these are the things that we want you to do. We want you to give some youth positions in your government. We want you to do this for us. We want you to do this for us. And you say, bye. If you are ready to do this for us, we'll vote for you. If you don't vote for you, we'll vote you out the next time. And when you tell politicians you're going to vote them out, they actually start performing. I can imagine how Mr. President has been trying to visit all the places that he hasn't visited in the last 3 years because the elections are coming. He can see that the music is not looking, the atmosphere is not looking so welcoming, so he's trying to rectify a few things. And this is exactly how I want us to think about how to fix these problems.
Okay, election is around the bend come 2019, and I know that loads of youths are coming out for presidency, some of them for governorship.
Yeah.
I've seen 1 or 2 of them coming out for positions.
Yes.
Looking at 2019, what do you think of these people coming out? You too, you're coming out as well. You're coming out as well. What do you think we need to do as the youth in this country? How can we be involved fully in 2019?
Unity.
We must wrap up now.
The youth can unite. We have a lot of tools at our disposal that we can use to communicate, to bring ourselves closer together. So, like I keep saying, the first thing on my agenda is unity. The second thing on my agenda is to have a secure country. The third thing is to see how we can have a decentralized system of governance. And the last thing is to have an atmosphere where we can leverage on our comparative economic advantages. With these things, I think we can actually move forward.
Well, we need to wrap up. One of these days, we're going to invite you. Give us your agenda. We are in support of young people coming out.
Certainly.
Thank you so much, Ahmed Buhari. He's a politician, for coming on this edition of the program. But we'll go on this break now, and when we come back, it is sports segment. Let's go on a break.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Ginger is a very popular spice that is used widely in cooking and can be processed in a variety of ways. It has quite a unique flavor and is an ingredient used in many savory foods. It also has long been used
Welcome back. It's sports segment, and I'm not alone here. We have OJ here with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Pleased to be here as usual.
Yes, what are we going to be enjoying from this segment this morning?
Well, the second round of the season, the Nigerian season begins weekend, and I mean, it's just a reverse. If I've played you before in my own home ground, then I have to come play you at your home, at your own home ground, and then another 19 weeks. Lobe is still on top anyway. But then the reversal begins with the matches played last weekend. So they went to Akure to play Sunshine. Sunshine is coming to Makurdi to play.
So who do you think will win this weekend?
I give it to Lobby Stars.
Again, Lobbies again. So you're with us in Lobby Stars. Okay, but we'll go on this break. When we come back, SuperDawn Sports is still on.
The Lafayette side are 16th on the log, level on points with 17th place El Kanemi Warriors. They hosted Abia Warriors on match day 18 and will be hoping for a win to put some daylight between themselves and the bottom 4. Abia have become the draw experts in the league, claiming just a point in each of their last 4 games. However, the last time they were in Lafayette, they were beaten 3-1. They began on the back foot and were almost behind as early as the 4th minute, but Kabiru Balogun's shot was deflected for a Nasarawa corner. The hosts drew first blood on 29 minutes. Shamasu Mohammed stole the ball off Chinedu Efu and calmly slotted past the goalkeeper.
One of the teenage players in the league, Shamasu, following a defensive blunder from Abia Warriors.
Nasarawa were unable to add to their lead as it finished Nasarawa United 1, Abia Warriors 0.